Well, looky here. You are listening to someone who is bold, authentic, diverse, unpredictable. Baby, I am unapologetically Ramon, and you have entered my zone, the QB zone, baby. Hello, somebody.
And there's no objection.
Thank you.
So one thing that was very important for me was to talk about a subject. You guys know I love diversity. You guys know at this point of the podcast, I've touched on a lot of different subjects, specifically those who have to do with me, relate to me directly or indirectly. And so it was very important that I had to talk about and celebrate single mothers.
Mm.
I I'm a product of a single mother. I know a lot of single mothers as friends, as relatives, working in child welfare. I've dealt with a plethora
Absolutely.
of single mothers. And so I am blessed to know single mothers who are really just doing, for lack of better words, doing the damn thing and are really thriving and doing the best they can, doing amazing for their children. And so I was very
Mhm.
excited when someone who I've known for a few years, hadn't seen her in a minute, but I've known her for a few years, always been very kind and sweet with me. Those who know me know what my favorite I love all my D9 brothers and sisters, but those who know me know what my favorite sorority is. I make no qualms or hesitations about that. So she is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I'm very, very excited to bring her here and have her on. It's Kimberly Person. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. It is such a pleasure to get a chance and to just share um, and just go from there. I'm excited because for the most part, people don't be ready to really fully grasp
Right.
my whole thing, but I'm ready if you are.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, just we can go dive right into it. We were briefly talking about just currently some things that
Yeah.
you've dealt with as a single mother in regards to your beautiful daughter. And I know you touched on some of the health issues and things that she has
Right.
struggled with. So just talk about dealing with that as a single mother and what that journey has been. 'Cause I know you said it's been like that since she was about 9, 10 months.
Right. So um let me start with the pregnancy. So the pregnancy was very easy.
Mm,
When I say easy, I exercised. I went to work. I worked. I was a supervisor at the time in one of the mail plants, and I would
mm.
walk the floor. And I mean, I had no nausea, no morning sickness, no night sickness.
Wow.
I exercised. I craved salads. That was all I wanted to eat. I mean, I literally worked every day up until like I gave birth on my day off,
Shut
basically.
up.
Yes.
Wow.
So it was amazing. It was amazing. Healthy birth, normal vaginal. I took all my vitamins and went to all my appointments, and I exercised. I drank lots of water, and everything was really good. So I gave birth. The birth was successful, no issues. I breastfed, right? And so after a few months, she would get cranky, colicky, is what the doctors called it.
Right.
And she would cry and cry and cry for hours on end. And it was like that. I don't know if that's colic because she sounds like she's in pain. Like,
Uh-huh.
it seems like it's something that's bothering her. But obviously, at 9 or 10 months old, they are unable to verbalize what's hurting, where it's
Of
hurting, or whatever the
course.
case may be.
Right.
So I would take her to urgent care. right? Because, you know, we would be up at night, 2 and 3 in the morning, and she's not, you know, she wants to sleep, she's tired, but she'll doze off and then she'll wake back up crying, and you know, so we would go to urgent care and they would give us a little bit of medicine or say, you know, it's just some colic, you know, and that type of thing. And we did that often, right? That would happen a couple times a week, maybe 2 or 3 times. And sometimes we just stay home because we know what they're gonna do when we get there.
Right, they're gonna, yeah.
So after some time of that going on, she began to start to walk, right? Or at least start to attempt to walk. And whenever she would walk, she would always lean against something or shuffle from couch to couch, almost like diving, as if she didn't trust it. You know, it's almost like almost as if she didn't trust herself, or you know, if I'm gonna make it, and that kind of thing, which struck us as odd. And then at that point, we began to go to the doctor, which would be the orthopedic doctor. Okay, what is it about her walking? Why is she favoring the, you know, and that type of thing?
Right.
And they said, oh, maybe she's a slow learner. Maybe she's not comfortable with, you know, her balance and things like that. And we would ask them to run tests and, you know, all of those things. And they would take the test that they thought would tell us what we needed to know and say they didn't see anything, you know, that disturbed them or that they felt was wrong.
Right.
So after a number of tests and we've seen multiple doctors at this point, between both the issues of the crying at night and then now the walking. So finally we had what was an MRI taken, and when the doctor saw the results, he gave us a call. And at this time she's 2 going on 3. This was probably maybe right around the time that I saw you. It was either right before or right after.
Okay.
That the doctors told us, we see there's a tumor in her spine.
Oh.
About this big. And the crying at night was, the tumor was blocking. So it's in the tumor was inside of her spinal canal. Where all of the nerves are. Right. And so what the tumor was doing to her was pressing her nerves against the inside of the spinal canal. And it wasn't giving the lower part of the body the signals that it needed. So when she needed to use the bathroom, there was no signal going to the lower part to say release. Right. And so that was the pressure of, my stomach's bloated, I need to release this. Okay. And it was things like that that she was having the pain of. And eventually at some point, you know, obviously doctors told us, because they asked about her, how was she releasing bowels and things like that. And they gave us, you know, things like suppositories to help her to release those. So that was literally our mechanism for helping her release her bowels. But again, I talk about it just, you know, like I can spit it out like water. Right. But in the moment, in the time, you don't even realize how much of your life this takes up. You know what I mean? Not only when you get to work, right? Because you leave her at the daycare and you wondering, are they taking care of my baby? Like, I was taking care of my baby. You know? So it was all of those different kinds of things. And what was great was that entire time she had been at the same one daycare. We would always fill them in with what was going on with her if we had a rough night. Oh, that's good. They were very, they very much echoed the sentiments that I would. You know what I mean? From everyone, from the director. I mean, she did all of the grade levels at the little pre-K. Okay. And so everyone had grown to know and love her. She was always such a sweet kid. Right. And so, so we found out that she had the tumor in the spine. And then so now, as she began the walking stage, there are certain responses or information that the lower part of her body on one side wasn't getting because of the tumor. And that was what the stumbling and the whole walking part was she was kind of like going for it, without even really feeling technically one leg walking.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So they called us. They said we got to take care of this right away because as nothing happens with it, more things will begin to be cut off. And so we went into the hospital. Now, by this time, I was in the church. Now, I wasn't in the church before. But maybe about 3 months earlier, 3 to 6 months prior to us finding out that news, I had finally ended the relationship with her dad. We weren't together. I actually found out I was pregnant after we had broken up.
Oh, wow.
We were not together. So we were living together. And at the time when I found out that I was pregnant, I was working on moving out.
Okay.
Right. And his thing was, it's our baby. You don't have to move, but we're not together. Right.
Okay.
We're not getting back together. But so I was a single pregnant woman.
Right. Still.
You feel me?
What was that like from a stressful standpoint? Because you have this man that you still under the same roof with. Now you have this child, and you know that you're going to be bringing this child into the world as a single parent. You know the road ahead for you, and then you have this child that unfortunately had these health issues. Was he a good support system during that phase?
He was. He made sure I ate. He would help me get dressed and put on shoes, take out clothes or whatever. Like it was a real life roommate situation.
Okay.
There wasn't any like affection or cuddling or anything like that. But if I needed my feet rubbed or any, things like that, he would help. He would definitely dive in.
Okay.
But the emotional, having my baby with the love of my life,
that wasn't
type thing.
And it was never any thought
it was not there. Now,
rekindling anything.
The thought came at one point or another, but he was still into what he was into, and for me, it was like, no, thank you.
I think that's a testament to your strength,
and
because a lot of women probably would have not been strong enough to not give in or be like, I don't want to do this by myself. You knew that you wasn't willing to jeopardize or put your happiness on pause, and I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing. So cool, definitely cool.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Me personally, growing up, my mom and dad were married when they had me. They were married for 32 years. They divorced sometime after I had my daughter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I only have the experience of parents being together. Right? Now, whether it was happy, sad, or whatever the case may be for my parents, that was their thing. But as far as I was concerned, I had no intention on him not being a part of her life. So that didn't have any effect on whether him and I stayed together or not.
That's good. That's good.
You understand?
Right.
Because I knew
some women can be spiteful. And that's good.
And don't get me wrong. I had every right to be spiteful. And he was even afraid to even take the olive branch when it did come around, because I didn't immediately, have that attitude. Like,
right. It took some time.
I hated him for a while. Right.
I'm sure.
And so, so I had my daughter, and then by that time, when we found out about the diagnosis, I had already moved out. I had moved out. I was in the process of purchasing a house, and so that was what I was doing. But at the same time, I was working on myself in the church, right? Getting my grounding, getting my grounding back in order. Because I had a road ahead of me, right? And I mean, just to paint a picture for you, my daughter, even after the procedure, even like now, so today the procedure that she had was, it was a procedure. She had like a plate inserted in the side of her knee.
Okay.
And then she also had a procedure of something done on her foot.
Oh,
And I say
okay.
that to say, so literally from the age of 10 months until now, this has been a part of my
Ongoing.
life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, the people, now granted, when I was growing up in my early 20s, I had her when I was 29. I was almost 30
Uh-huh.
when I had her. So I had friends who had kids,
Right.
right? They had kids younger. We would go out, we would party, drop the kids off to auntie or mama, whoever,
Uh-huh. Right. Absolutely.
But I didn't really have that luxury
Mm.
because I didn't want to burden, right, someone, because I knew what the nights with her were like.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so they were very rare. Now, obviously, I would send her with my mom, but even that was here and there.
Right.
You know what I mean? But for the most part, it was me. Her dad worked long hours, long nights, right? And so it was me at the urgent care. It was me at the different doctor's appointments. It was me, trying to relay the information, what happened, what they said, what it's looking like. When do we come back? Okay, we saw the neurologist. Okay, we saw the urologist. We saw it was a lot.
So what did you do to, because I know church, we know the church can be an amazing thing, and building yourself spiritually can be an amazing thing. We know that. However, I think in those moments when that seems like it's not enough, or you're still in a building phase, what was Kimberly doing to not put a smile on her face, but put a smile on her heart? And what were you doing to kind of reset and rejuvenate, if anything?
Yes. So what I was doing was, to be quite honest, at the very beginning, I felt like it was like what did I do? Like, how did I end up in this predicament, right? How did I end up being the one with this life?
Right.
And then obviously getting into the word and learning about the scriptures and reading it for myself and seeing myself in the stories and the other people's experiences. I recall the fact of, Abraham having to take his son up to the mountain without a sacrifice, right?
Right.
And the thing was, do you trust God enough to give him back the gift that he gave to you? Right?
Yeah.
Because we don't understand why we go through what we go through, how it ends up being us. But the bottom line is he picked this life out for us. This life is predestined. It was handcrafted for me specifically.
Yeah. Before you was even formed in your mama's belly. Yeah. Yeah.
He trusts me with this assignment because it's a lot of people couldn't do it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's
there's
plenty of women who probably would have folded a long time ago. Yeah.
So I'm like, you trust me with this? So I'm like, if you trust me with it, I know you're not gonna let me do it by myself.
Yeah.
I know it's not gonna ever be. Now, granted, there were times where I just wanted to cry and I was tired. Oh, so it was a point I was gonna make about. I was saying, picture this. So as she was younger, before and after the back surgery, because we had multiple surgeries on the back, and different things with the legs, and so even as a smaller kid, after she was outside of the stroller, I would put her in, like the regular little canopy strollers that you kind of stick the kids in at the youth fair type of thing.
Yeah.
That was how we traveled everywhere. Because of her walking, if an adult or some other kids being rambunctious and bump into her, You know, the average kid would, you know, would be okay, but she would actually fall.
Have a problem, right?
Right. And so that was our mode of transportation. And then when it was bathroom time, it was Nina gotta go. We did not have a lot of time.
Right. Can't hold it, can't, yeah.
And so wherever we were, I literally had to pick her up and book it. You know what I mean? I had to run, find one. Sometimes I had a, you know, a pull up in my back pocket.
Right.
And I would, you know, if I just had to hold it, you know, in between her. But this was my life. Like, and I know, like, any, you know, the average person didn't really have those kind of experiences, you know. And then it'd be sometimes where I think I gotta go, and then we go, and then there's nothing. Or we just left, and I gotta
go again. Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like, I would be tired, yes, but I had the breath, but I had the strength. You know what I mean? And so being athletic, right? Working out, walking my entire pregnancy, exercising, eating salads.
Yeah.
Listen.
Because, you know, one thing, you know, my grandma used to always, one of the things she used to tell me is, you take care of your body when you're young, and it'll take care of you when you're old. So you exercising and eating right and doing all this kind of stuff, even while you're pregnant, I'm pretty sure you didn't know that you were planting seeds to sustain you with this future.
I didn't know, but God did.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. So if he prepared me before I even knew what I was needing it for, why would he stop now? You know what I'm saying? I could have been, you know, and
I feel like you speaking to my spirit with some of the stuff you are saying.
Listen, wait, because I don't know if you remember what I looked like in college. Do you remember?
You mean as far
much heavier?
I mean, I didn't want to say you were fat, but
it's okay.
I mean, I knew you, but let me say this though. You was always a pretty girl. You always wore things that compliment yourself. Now that's the truth.
Sure.
But you were you were bigger, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. But after that, after college, and you know, everybody, you know, you want to be fine in college, you know. But after that, and I honestly can't tell you what it was, but I was just like, oh, I got to get this weight off me. And that was just something that I was doing prior to the pregnancy and everything. You know, so and I said that to say, even when I was heavy and something said, get this weight off, that was still God preparing me. You know what I'm saying? Because when I needed that athleticism, it was there.
It was there right on time, the perfect time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it had been rough. You know, being single, making sure that he knew that, you know, she was going to be loved by him, and that they were going to have a relationship. In the very beginning, he wouldn't take my phone calls. He wouldn't answer calls and things like that. I guess he thought I wanted to fight and different things or argue or what have you.
Okay.
And I would let his voicemail pick up, and I would play with the baby, and I would let her make noises, and I would talk to her, and like I would let him hear her jovial nature. Because you might not pick up the phone and talk to me, but you're going to hear your baby. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to miss out on.
And that should do something to you as a man, that you listen to this voice message, and this is what you're missing out on. You hear this beautiful, sweet noise that comes from all babies, and this is what you're missing out on, regardless of what your relationship is with the mama.
Yeah. And you know, I think the thought process after so many times or so many of those type of messages was, now who would do this and have some, you know what I mean? Because ain't nobody thinking to do that.
Yeah.
And got a trick up their sleeve.
Right.
You know? So, and again, it was because, hey, we knew that, but wanted to ensure that he was a part of her life, whether you talking to me or not.
Right.
That don't matter.
So what was your village? Was it just you and your mom, or was there other relatives? What was your village? Who held you up all these years?
So I would say a good part of my village was my friends at church.
Okay.
I would say a good part of my village was my friends at church, because they would kind of help me realize some things and help kind of allow me to see perspective that I wasn't necessarily ready for. Because
Okay.
again, at that time, when I met them and when I was at the church, I was still fairly new to, whether it was trusting people or feeling open enough to share,
Absolutely.
or even like considering dating, which I wasn't at the time, but but the idea of these are people who it was the nature of the connections at church, right? It wasn't like, Sister Sherry and we sit in a circle and we just talking about gossip type stuff. It wasn't
Right.
that.
Right.
It was a very rich, God is in my life. This is how you know. And let me tell you about my testimony. And so it was like from other people's experiences and knowing what they had been through and the smiles on their faces, and we gonna make this happen and we gonna do this. Let's go here. I mean, it made me comfortable with knowing I can handle it.
You could let that wall down. You was with a group of women that y'all related on a certain level. Each of y'all using y'all test to be y'all testimony.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what about the dating life? I mean, what has that been like for you these past years? I mean, because first of all, you're a strong woman. You not just because of your character, but what you've endured. So a man, he can't come half-stepping. He really got to come and be about his business times two. So I mean, I'm sure you probably came across some frogs or some elf. I don't want to say the N word, but what it's been like?
What it's been like? So. I was married. I did get married. And he did all the right stuff, did everything he needed to do to get in, right? And once after the wedding, after the ceremony, about 4 months in, he got real comfortable. He felt like, okay, I can be myself
now. 4 months in. He didn't even give you a good year.
No, but I appreciate him showing his true colors that soon.
Right. Before you got too deep into it.
Yeah, we were I think we were married about 9 months total. Okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm out. He admitted to being diagnosed in the military with narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay.
So he had known about it for years prior to meeting me.
Okay.
Nice person, but he didn't have the emotional capacity.
Okay, I can understand that.
That's what it was.
And we already not the most emotionally
compassionate. Yeah.
Right. So then if you're going to add mental health or some other stuff on top of it, that does make it worse. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, in his defense, which, it was all his workings, he knew exactly what was going on. I was the one in the dark.
Right.
But right. I know that he just wanted somebody to love him. Right? I get that. But the reason why I could not stay was because he chose to rob me of the opportunity to love him for him. He chose to put an imposter in front of me.
Right.
And decided to give me the impression that was who I was marrying.
Right. You fell in love with the wrong person.
Yeah. I fell in love with I didn't know who he was. And on top of that, dude, you know what I'm dealing with and going through with my child.
Why add to it?
You gonna add to it?
Right. You're supposed to enhance your life, not add to the stress.
So I was like, yeah, on that, yeah, I'm good. I appreciate him being honest, coming, because it there was nothing that spawned the conversation. He just one day decided,
Oh
I'm
wow.
gonna explain. Yeah, I'm gonna explain to her what what it is and what's going on, and he wanted to stay. He thought we would be able to continue our relationship, and because I sincerely loved him for who he was.
You guys try counseling?
No, 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 no. So what had happened was, when he shared the news with me, I told him I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Right? I'm not gonna jump the gun and make some rash decision. Yeah, it's messed up that you didn't tell me sooner, or I get that. But we are married now.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So let me do some research, look it up on my own, see what this thing is about, see how I feel, play back some of the experiences we've had, and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So baby, I did my Googles. And I started to think back to some times and instances, and
Right.
and then how they lie.
Yeah. Certain pieces was coming together for you, and it
Right.
just wasn't gonna work.
Yeah, and I realized, like, he though he may want to, he does not comprehend the kind of love that I would need.
Right. You don't have the tools to give you the kind of love you need.
Yeah. And it's just that alone. He's never going to be able to support me in everything that I'm already doing.
Mm-hmm.
Where I need it most. I'm going to need to lay my head down and cry in your arms. And I don't want you to hold me like, like somebody just, stuck a piece of gum on you.
Right. Yeah.
So
you're gonna feel safe and protected, a place of serenity in your man's arms.
And so I suggested us separating. Let's separate for a little while. Maybe you get some counseling, maybe, but he didn't agree with that.
Oh, okay.
He initially said he would. He packed up, some things and, alluded to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just said, "This not gonna work. I can't live without you."
Mm.
And then he went into the room. Now the baby was going to school already. She wasn't there.
Okay.
He went into the room, got my gun out of the case, and he came back. He took the safety off, and he put the gun in his head. He say, if you take my family from me, I won't have anything to live for. Right.
God, I didn't expect you to tell me that.
I know.
Oh my God.
And at that point, I'm just in my head like, Lord, what I need to say, what I need to do, I don't know what's going on. I need you to dive in right now.
Right now. Because it's hard when and let me say this, since we're very, very transparent, I've been on the other end. Except I was alone when I tried, both times. So I understand in some way, shape, or form, mentally and emotionally, where he was at. But for you, and I'm sure you did not expect the conversation to escalate to that point. I mean, I can only imagine just pleading and calling on the Lord, like, God, please tell me, because you don't really know what to say to a person in that moment. And you could really have the best intention and say the wrong thing.
Not only that, but my mindset was, if he's not concerned with his life,
you're not going to be concerned with yours.
He's not going to be concerned with mine. And he could easily turn that trigger, take me out, and then take himself out. My daughter has no parent. the one she's been going through all these things with now has to be without.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that happens to too many families. Unfortunately.
Too many. So what had happened was, I said whatever came to mind. I don't know how Holy Spirit downloaded it, but I was like, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. Stay, don't leave.
Absolutely.
Forget it.
Right.
I'm talking him down.
Mm-hmm.
He put the gun down, and we left.
First of all, did you know there was a gun in the home?
Yes, it was my gun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, so we calmed down, we talked, and we went to work. We were talking on the phone. I was headed to my job. He was headed to his. And we were talking and everything. I told him I'm pulling up at work. I need to go inside. I'm already so late after everything this morning.
Right.
And so we hung up. Ramon, after we hung up, I turned around. I got the key from him when we were getting ready to leave.
Okay.
And I said, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it later. I turned around and went right back home. I packed up a suitcase. Went to the courthouse. Filed a protective order. Grabbed the papers for divorce. Came back. Went to my daughter's school. Picked her up out of the school because he was on the pickup list.
Of course, yeah.
Got her out of school, and we left. I went to Orlando.
Yeah, you did what you had to do for you and your baby.
I can't take the chance of you coming back here, and I'm definitely not going to expose her to any of this.
Absolutely. Thank God she was in the bed in the room sleep.
No, she wasn't. She was at school.
Oh, when it happened, he was. Oh, yeah. Okay. She was at school when he did that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I left, and I ain't care what, but I basically stayed gone from my house until he was served. Like even after, I ain't even want to go home.
Right.
But I stayed in Orlando for a week. I stayed with a cousin in Sunrise for like 3 or 4 weeks. So, whatever it was. I let my job know because I work for the government.
Right.
That, this was a situation. This is his situation. And so they would have undercover car, like follow me out. It was things like that because
wow.
You don't want anything happening on government premises. And then 2, it's like, well, there is a risk because we've already shown me what you're willing to do.
Correct. And it's a blessing you had that kind of job though, that you had that added support.
Listen, all things work together.
Amen.
It ain't no coincidence I'm at my job. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all of it is supposed to be the way that it is.
Absolutely.
By the time that he would call me all hours of the night, he would leave long voicemails, begging me to come back. He's sorry, and all of that. And if I was weak, I probably would have went back. If I needed money, you know what I'm saying?
You'd have went back a long time ago. Or you probably, some women did it. Some women don't leave. I've had those cases in child welfare where, he pulled a gun to her head multiple times in front of the kid. You still stay. Some women just don't have that strength in that moment. Unfortunately, have to be multiple things happen before some of y'all get that strength to leave.
But not only that, maybe some of that is what they've seen also.
Oh yeah,
they were the kid, right? So, but for me, this was all what in the world? Like, it's just a relationship,
right?
Like,
And you knew as a woman something wasn't right because once again, this wasn't the type of environment you was raised in,
right?
So you already knew deep inside of yourself something that milk ain't clean. This is not what I'm supposed to be living it.
Right,
Yeah.
experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what he had broken the house. He had broken the house and he was living there while I was like, I guess, waiting for me to come home every day.
But you was never coming home.
Mm-mm.
But he was still in there. My God.
Yeah, because he would call me like, I think it was must have called me on FaceTime. I'm guessing
Mm-hmm.
he didn't have a iPhone, but there was at least one time where he called me and I could see the ambiance from the house inside the house.
Okay.
And that was how I knew
You
that he
clearly
was
knew that was
inside
your
the
home.
house.
Right.
Right. But I knew that I had the keys to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, how did he get in the house? And he was basically like, well, it's my house too. Like, I live here too.
He pulled that card.
Yeah, which was cool. But, yeah, hey, baby.
Listen, you
So
had a backup plan, so you're gonna be good. Go ahead and pull that stunt.
be good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need to be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Now, the average person who ain't got nobody, who can't go, would have had to go back.
Yeah. She had got to suck it out. Suck it up. I mean, yeah.
And maybe that was what he was used to dealing with, who knows. But so one good morning he called me and I saw that he was in the house. And while he was talking, I called the police and I told them,
I don't blame you.
because they could never find him to serve him the papers.
Right. But hold on, I know where he at this good morning.
Police. He's in the house. I will meet y'all there with my copy, since the service people
could never find him.
So, but I have a copy, a certified copy that's sealed, that I can hand to you, that you can serve him to get him out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So they did that, and my cousin who I was staying with, followed me, and we went there, and the police came, and he wasn't gonna come to the door at first. They knocked and knocked and knocked, and then he finally came to the door, and they served him and told me he had to get out. And he left, and it was maybe about a month after that time where we had the whole marriage dissolved.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was divorced in December of 2017, and I've been single ever since.
Do you find yourself jaded or bitter or just kind of guarded to love, or are you still open to it one day?
That's a great question. In all honesty, I say I'm open to it, but I think there's a part of me that's still like, are you who you say you really are? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because everybody bring their representative.
Hello.
Hello. But I've been intentional in like just being who I am and saying like, look, this is what it is. This is my situation, and this is my life. But everybody have their own way of doing things and motives and all of that. And the dating pool
ain't that
pee in it.
Listen, you got pee and coronavirus and pollution, all kind of crap these days.
So I'm hopeful for sure.
When the last time you been on a date?
The last time I've been on a date recently.
Okay.
I've been on a date recently, but how can I put this? We just not on the same page.
Okay.
We just not on the same page. My thinking is, okay, what's the plan? What we doing with our money, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Where are we investing?
Right.
Like, what's the plan for? Right. What are we about to do in the next 5 years? What are we working on right now for that? So that's what I'm kind of looking for and thinking, like, what are you doing with your life? Like, I was telling somebody recently, I think I made a post about it, that we've always said, we living in the last days. We've always said no one knows their day or their time when it's over for them. But baby, this COVID-19 has made that such a reality.
More than ever. Yeah.
Like, it can be anybody, babies, middle-aged people, seniors, healthy people, sick people.
Yeah.
But this is what God has always said to us. It's been no different.
That is
but
true.
we've taken advantage of the time he's given us. And at this point, it's like, man, why aren't people more intentional with their words, with their actions? What are you doing with your time? Like, how are you out here playing with people?
Right. And that's what it's so funny you said intentional, because when I look at things I've been through the last 2 years, beyond just, grief, unfortunately, I've been through other traumas. And, I tell myself now that I'm very intentional and specific with the people I'm around, with what I'm doing with my time and effort, the money, because you really do go through things in life and learn priorities and what's important. And I do want longevity. I do want a situation where I'm not 40, 45, 50, still having all these questions, all these what ifs, and still trying to, have certain, just all these what ifs and regrets, So I get it. You definitely have to make sure that the people you're interacting with or just all of us, I think, like you said, when we look at coronavirus or when we just look at what's going on in the world, we need to be very intentional with our time and effort and money, just everything. We're wasting our
Racial tension. You don't know if you could leave the house and not make it back because a cop thought you said something slick.
Yeah. Like you dang near can't go to the corner and get gas and may not make it back.
Right.
Trayvon Martin went to go get some damn Trayvon Martin went to go get some Skittles and a soda or something?
Right.
Look, never saw your child again.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice that you would have for a single mom? One good old piece of advice. I'm sure it's a lot.
So I think the most important thing for a single mom is fall in love with you first. Fall in love with you first. I mean, you got to be that bae that, listen, pay yourself, do your own, get your own hair done,
I know that's
get your car cleaned. You don't have to look like you're single. You know what I mean? Like, take care of yourself, right? And then that way, any man coming along, he knows that you don't need him.
Amen.
That your decision to be with him is because it's a want, right? Because when people think you need them, they will treat you like that.
Absolutely.
And then they feel like you have to take however I decide to treat you.
Right.
And probably part of the reason I'm still single now is because people know that they can't treat me any kind of way because I've been holding my own.
Right.
That
can be intimidating to some. And then, like you said, sometimes when you have a man who is doing so much for you, he may start to have these thoughts of ownership. And I feel like you can't possess people, you can only experience them. And that's what some guys get it twisted when they do so much and think that, especially when it's not out the kindness of your heart. That's another thing. When it's not out the kindness of your heart, as a woman, you want to be able to have something to fall back on. But this guy want to get stupid and you need to walk out the door, like how you had options. Like it's important to have those options.
Yeah.
Listen.
And that takes work. You have to believe that there are jobs out here. Like, so I've been working for the Postal Service for the last 21 years. When I was 20, 21, my friends was hanging out. They was working at the PRC and the
I remember that PRC. Everybody worked there.
Listen, but me, I was working the night shift, just a little scruff, just getting in, working nights, working weekends,
right?
But that was something I had to do because I didn't want to work at the PRC,
Right.
But there are certain investments you have to make in yourself, sacrifices. Yes, I like that man, but if that man don't care to treat me the way I would treat me, then I have to make that sacrifice, and he got to go.
Right. Exit stage left. See you later. Yeah.
So I think that's a great place of just appreciating and loving on yourself. And not only that, your kids see what you do and don't take.
Yeah. And they're gonna follow that example. Like if you have a daughter, she's gonna follow that example, get the exact same man that mama had. Most times, yeah.
So
Listen.
I'm not just doing it for me. I'm doing it for whoever's watching. And you have no clue who's watching you.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, we have the social media.
And some watch you hard.
And don't say a word.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's an amazing feeling when they follow something that you impacted you and something positively that you infected them with. They follow that, and you don't even realize that you just thought you was being yourself, or you just thought it was just a regular day for you. But you said something, you did something, and it positively impacted this person. And so, yeah, people are really watching. Sometimes it can be complete strangers.
I remember I was joining this this community, and I got on this call. It was like a Zoom call, like relationship talk and that kind of thing.
Right.
And so I had already been a part of this other community where we would talk about the word and God really preparing us to really, one, love him first, love ourselves, and then to be able to mirror that in a relationship to someone else, right? Not the other way around. And I was on this call. I was new to the community or whatever was going on. And, you know, I got a chance to introduce myself. And once I did that, a young lady kind of chimed in and she said, "Hey, are you such and such? Are you a part of XYZ?" And I said, "Yeah, yes, I am." And she said, I knew it. She said, "I recognize, you know, your background, where you are in your house or whatever." And she said, "You gave a testimony." And she said, "That thing stuck with me and it made me you know." And I'm sitting there like, one, I did not know who she was.
Right.
And two, I did not even think of it when I said it back then about the people, whoever, wherever they were, that were listening or that would watch the replay or what have you, because you don't even think about that. When you jump on somebody live and you make a comment or they add you to their screen, you have no idea how many years later somebody will press play and hear you say something.
Yeah.
And now they got a whole new perspective because you were willing to share something about yourself. So you never know who you're gonna touch when you decide to share and open up, because you know we survive by the strength of our testimony.
Hello.
And that's how we save other people, because we give them the impression like, yeah, I don't look like what I've been through, but you don't have to either. You know, and when they can see, oh, okay, you know, I can spruce myself up. I can say no when I feel like, you know, I don't want to be treated that way.
Right.
And it's important because people feel like nobody knows what I'm dealing with. You know, I'm in this by myself. And soon as you start talking and telling your story, oh, me too. Oh,
and that's been so amazing. Yeah, I've noticed that. You know, I've stopped restricting myself because I most of my life was a very private person, but I really noticed these past few years when I start to share, not only is it freedom and a release for me, but when you realize people can relate to this, or this part of your journey or your story can help a person. So what I do is whenever it's on my spirit to share something, I don't care how uncomfortable it makes me, I'm going to share it. Because once again, he knew what our journey was going to be before he created us. And so he didn't have us go through this for no reason. It has to be for a reason. And so if in this moment, I feel like sharing this part of my journey is going to help this person or this situation, I can deal with my own emotions of vulnerability later on, but I'm going to be this person. I want to be used for this person. And it's been an amazing thing to see that.
Yeah, that's what he said. Love your neighbor and tend to my sheep. Hello. It's real simple. This life is not hard. It's not. Love is easy. You know, love is just a decision. I've decided that through thick and thin, I'm going to love you, even when I'm upset with you, you know, and that's just it.
Right.
I don't do things out of spite because I don't like how something panned out in this moment. But when you have someone who has the capacity to be compassionate towards you, that can give you that back, there's nothing to think about. We just decided this is what we're gonna do.
Very simple decision. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with our walk. Like, you just decide, you know, I'm just gonna have to hold out on sex until somebody can appreciate me enough to want to marry me and put a ring on my finger, and then do things the right way.
Right. Absolutely. Listen here, Kimberly. You have spoke to my spirit. I'm thinking we just gonna come and talk about single mamas, and I just want to highlight you and share you. You know, I did not expect you to come in here and drop nuggets and knowledge, but I'm grateful that you allowed. First of all, I'm grateful that you, without hesitation, wanted to support me in this and have this conversation. So I will always appreciate that. But for you to allow yourself to be used, to share the stories you shared, that I was just like, oh wow, she's really gonna be transparent and go there, and it just. You spoke from the spiritual standpoint that can help single mothers, that can help a young man like myself, that can help a lot of different people. So I just hope and pray that God continues to bless you and use you, and that you just continue to be this sweet, awesome person you've been since I met you.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it feels like, you know, I'm too sweet, right? Like, you know, but I'm just me, you know, and he made me this way for a reason. And you know, it's some extra evil people out here. So I guess I can't be mad if I'm extra sweet.
Listen, and it's gotten you this far, because you may be extra sweet, but you a tough cookie and you a strong woman.
Yeah.
And you are a great example of a mother. You're a great example of what it looks like to endure and not look like what you've been through.
Right. That part. Because baby, look.
Because the way you keep yourself together, you could have never told me you've been through some of the stuff you've been through.
Listen, I mean, you know, and there are times where you know, you don't feel like it.
Of course.
Feelings are lies. Like, feelings are temporary. They don't
say that
nothing.
Say that again. Because you just spoke to me again.
I said, it's times where you don't feel like dressing up, where you don't feel like doing your hair or putting nothing on. But feelings are lies. Feelings don't have any truth in them. If you think about it, I feel like I want some ice cream, right? But if I'm working on this hot girl summer, guess what?
The devil's a lie. I don't need this ice cream. Yeah.
Because I got something I'm working on feeling. You're going to have to sit back. But when you've made a decision, I made a decision about my body for this year, right? We've been in the house all last year. Somebody's son gonna see this.
Hello, and gonna love every bit of it.
So
you gotta say it again. If you lied and cheat to get it,
you gotta learn cheat to keep it.
Yeah. And people don't realize the same way you, and a lot of times, especially relationships and matters of the heart, the same way you got it, a lot of times the same way you're gonna lose it.
Yeah. And people don't like to be, they want to do what they doing and have it their way. They take and eat it. Look, ask the questions you need to ask. If you're not getting the kind of answers you need, then you have a decision to make. You can't say, oh, they made me. Oh, I didn't know. No, you didn't know because they didn't tell you. But when you asked and you didn't get an answer, that was your opportunity to say, you know what, this don't work for me.
Right. And if you ignore the signs, then that's your fault. You deserve exactly what you got.
Yeah. Now I know when I was with my ex-husband, there were signs, but I was ready to be married and do the thing legal.
Right. I know that's right.
So that's what my mind was as far as I was concerned. I mean, I was in the church and everything, but at the same time, I was absolutely single. I'm like, okay, you know, I can work with this. It's not that deep. So I thought.
Absolutely. So.
But here we are.
Yeah. But I appreciate it. Listen, I enjoyed this conversation. I ain't gonna keep you too much longer. This was a blessing. Like, you beyond.
It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely gotta do this again. I'm sure we got all kind of topics we can talk about. I know I do plan on doing some Greek related stuff. So I definitely would want to have you
Okay.
back on that. But even just some of these grown
Sure.
folks conversations about relationships and matters of the heart, I think you would be vastly beneficial for that. Because you definitely got some real talk,
Mm,
language, and experiences to share.
so I'm still single, right? I mean, because I still got to look left and look right and look left again,
Hello.
like a crosswalk.
Hello.
Okay.
And everywhere you go, you make sure you look like something because you never know where you may find your Mr. Right.
That's right. For real. I mean, these gas station attendants, well, I tell you, they be looking, they come out that glass,
Right.
they ain't playing. So look, if he don't chase me down like the car warranty people,
Hey, the
I
you
don't want him.
hello
Mm-mm.
somebody. These car warranty
I'm
people.
spoiled now. Listen, I'm spoiled. I know how to be treated right. Come
Hello.
on, they call me every day on the day.
I know that's right. So, but yeah, we will be in touch. I'm gonna let you go,
We
man.
shall.
I really appreciate it. And
I had
thank
a
you once
great
again.
time.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
All
We'll
right,
talk soon.
yes, ma'am. Take care. Well, that's it for the zone today. We are officially shutting it down. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And until next time, remember this: be so full of love and light that nothing can bother your inner peace.